What's up, tubers? Tio here, Simplistic Fishing, in the office, doing some lake breakdowns. Still waiting for Steve. Steve's my boat, Skeeter Steve. Still waiting for him to get out of the shop. I should have him back on Friday and hopefully get you guys some live content coming soon. But we had a lot of requests for this lake. It was Lake Chickamauga out in Tennessee. For those of you from Tennessee, I am from Texas. I've never actually fished Lake Chickamauga before, but we've done several different lake breakdowns throughout the state of Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana, and had a lot of success with it, with a lot of good feedback. So we're starting to kind of venture out and see what other lakes that we can break down. So we're going to break it down from basically a mapping standpoint. Obviously, I've fished in river systems and things like that, have a lot of bass fishing knowledge. So I still think this will be very, very helpful to you guys. And if not, at least you have a complete lake breakdown that tells you where all the good stuff is. So let's go ahead and jump into this one. This is Lake Chickamauga, Tennessee, video number 1. Let's roll. Well, before we jump into Chickamauga Reservoir or Lake Chickamauga, whatever you want to refer it to as, what we usually like to do is we usually like to go to the Texas Park and Wildlife page and look at their information. But unfortunately, we're not in Texas here. So we're going to go to the Tennessee Wildlife Resource page here and just find some information out about this lake, just get some more information on what this lake is and kind of what it has to offer. First off, it was created in 1940 when the Tennessee Valley Authority impounded a section of the Tennessee River. Chickamauga is actually 36,200 acre reservoir with 810 miles of shoreline. So you can imagine this one took us a while, and we're going to be going through this series for a while as well, but all kinds of good stuff. You can get to see some more information up in there. The main thing I wanted to show off to you was really just this bottom part. It kind of talks to you about the upper half of the reservoir is more riverine, while mid to lower end of the reservoir has more sluggish water. It does say it has lots of different game fish opportunities: largemouth bass, smallmouth bass, striped bass, bluegill, red ear sunfish, walleye, sauger. I don't even know what that is. I don't live in Tennessee, so I'm probably saying that wrong, and catfish. Anyways, just a great lake. We've heard lots of good things about this lake. Would love to have the opportunity to go and fish this one. This is one that I haven't been able to go look at, but hopefully what we're able to find here on the breakdown will help you guys find fish while you're out there fishing. And hopefully someday I'll get a chance to go out there and fish as well. Maybe I'll get to hook up with one of you guys. You can take me out, show me around. Let's go ahead and jump over to Google Earth and I'll show you what we found on this one. All right, well, let's go ahead and jump into the Google Earth portion here. And let's talk about these lake breakdowns. Now, I think many of you guys, because we pretty much started our lake breakdown stuff in the state of Texas, that's where our home is. So this is all probably brand new to most of you guys watching this video, except for those of you out in Texas that have watched us for a few years now. But the way we do this is basically we use Google Earth. We break it down over here on the left side, really on whatever we find on the lake. Now, in Chickamauga, in this video series, we're going to focus on the upper end. Now we have this broken down by 3 different sections. We have the upper section, the mid section, and the southern section. So let me zoom in here and show you guys the sections first. So the southern section is basically this state park that's right here. Always forget the name of it. Harrison Bay State Park. It's basically there south. So if I pull this back and I just pull off the south waypoints, that's going to show you where all the south winds. Now, the mid winds basically start right at that little bend right there, and they go all the way up here to this bridge that is way up here, right here. So whatever highway this is, Tri-County Veterans Bridge, Highway 60. So Highway 60 down, that's going to be your midsection. Notice those all go away. So today what we're going to do is we're going to focus on this upper section. So basically all of this and all of this up in this area. Now, this will take us several videos to break down this lake, but we got to start somewhere. So what we're going to do is we're going to start at that bridge. We're going to work our way east. Then we'll keep working our way north until we got all the way to the northern tip where we stopped. We'll circle back around. We'll come back down the western side. And then once we get that done, then we're going to switch over and have a whole video series using the Navionics boating app to show you the contours and why we picked the offshore hotspots and stuff like that. So I'll talk to you about that here in a minute. Now, on the left-hand side, what we have over here, basically, here's what we're going to cover tonight. We're going to cover all the different types of cover that we were able to find, whether that be actual man structures that they've built, brush piles, laydowns, hard spots, just pretty much anything we could find when we drew the water down to be able to locate that stuff. Now, we also have several different creek channels and ditches that we've marked. What we do here is we mark these creek channels and ditches with tracks. So you can see these highlighted in green. These are the different tracks where the creek channels are. Really good to know, especially if you're trying to find, more active water. Maybe you got a lot of runoff during that time or something like that. Those are going to be key areas to look at. And if you can get in areas where you get some pretty good creek channels, you can definitely put your boat in the right position on those creek channels to take advantage of that. We've also marked different ditches and things that we saw throughout this as we were doing this breakdown as well. So you'll see those. Now, one thing that's really cool about Chickamauga is all the different grass beds that are out here as well. So what we tried to do, and obviously these can shift from time to time, but we at least tried to pinpoint the areas where the grass beds typically reside. So we've got those marked for you. Again, we've got a lot of different offshore hotspots marked for you. We'll talk about those once we get into the offshore series. We've got ponds out here. So these are old ponds that we're able to identify when we pull the water down. Lots of different ramps. Out here in Texas, one thing that works really well for us is the boat that I always call it the boat ramp pattern. So if you can get on the boat ramp pattern, sometimes, the boat ramps are just loaded with fish for some reason, and it's a pattern that you can definitely run. So if you want to get on that pattern on Chickamauga on this upper end, you definitely have the opportunity to do that with several different boat ramps to fish. And the other good thing too is when you're out there in the water, if you have some trouble or something like that, this will definitely help you out in showing you exactly where all the ramps are that are close to you. Now, we've also got several different areas here where we've got rock. I know there's a lot of rock in the area, but still, this is going to be like key areas where the rock sticks out, or maybe it's a swing and you've got some rock there, things like that. All the different places that are going to be high percentage areas to find the bass. And then last but not least, was able to find several different brush piles that TVA has put out there. Now, they might not all be brush piles. They might actually be fish attractors, but there's several of them in here, and we'll talk about those. I've got those all marked here for you as well. So let's go ahead and just pull this all back up. We're going to take off the offshore stuff. We're going to zoom in here to the dam. And the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to go up here to, actually, I'm going to pull this over. And then we're going to go up here to the timeline. We're just going to draw this back. And we're going to draw it back as far as we can until we start seeing some fluctuation in the river or in the lake, I guess you could say. So here's 2019. This is pretty far down. That's actually a really good image. Gives us some pretty good stuff. 2019 again, 2018. So just I'll have to remember 2019 there because that was probably the best. 2016, that's getting pretty good too. It's showing us quite a bit. 2015, 14. And what I do is I just go back and click on these. Now we're pretty much out of years now because Google Earth only goes back to about 2010 that it starts getting junky. So let's go back to 2019 because I think that's going to give us the best image for this one, at least the clearest image. And again, what we're going to do is we're going to start on this bridge. We're going to stay over here on the east side. We'll work our way all around the east side, all the way back until we end right here at the dam. So the first thing that we really liked here is really just this little man-made structure that's here. You got two of them that are right there. Definitely fishing around things like that. Those are always going to be good areas to find fish. They like to hang out around those things, ambush bait fish, stuff like that. You've also got a pretty decent little, I don't know, this almost looks like a pond just by the way it's set up. So we believe it's a pond. Not actually positive that it's a pond. It definitely looks like a pond, and you might have a little bit of a pond dam or something like that right in here, but a little opening going on right in that section. But the thing I really like about this whole area, one, I kind of like that little rock that's over there too, but really like this rock that's right in here, right outside where this little pond dam would exit. And then over here by this boat ramp looks like it could have some potential too to fish around. Now, as we move back in here, you can tell this is getting pretty shallow, kind of backwaters back in here. But if you can get back in here, if the water's high enough, you do have a pretty decent little rock pile that's kind of hidden back in here in this little pocket back here. So definitely something you could look at. And then moving over here, you got some really interesting stuff going on over here. Obviously, a little pond dam that's been built up. Now, that's going to look a lot different when the water's up. some interesting stuff right in there. And we probably should have marked that. That is a giant brush pile. So let's go ahead and mark that right now. Not sure how we missed that one last time, but it will be there now. So we've got some brush there. And then you've also got this rock that's right in here. Now there's a little bit right in here too, but a lot right in here. And then a lot right over in here as well. So these nice little hard spots. And notice you got grass beds back in here too. So let's pull this up. Let's take this up to 2022. Let's look at it. This would be the most recent image that we can tell. So you can tell there is some grass and stuff back in here. So you definitely have some grass beds and I don't know, just all kinds of good frogging areas. And then there's that hard spot and that brush pile that we marked. You can see just the top of it. So if you go back in there, you may actually be able to see the top of it. But anyways, looking like some pretty good areas in there. And then of course we've got a lot of grass and stuff back in this area too. So we're going to go back to 2019, back where we were. And I don't like that image. Let's get a little clearer image. And then we're going to keep moving up. So now what we're doing is we're going to come up here and we're just going to go up this arm. And then what we'll do is we'll come back and we'll circle back and go up the main arm there. So we're going to keep going around. We've got a couple different ramps that are over here. Also got some laydowns that are over here as well. You can see a big tree laying down right in there. This ramp is like, I don't even know if you'd call that a ramp. It's more like a slab, but that one might be hard to get to. That one's getting pretty shallow. Got another pond that's in here. So fishing around the edges of those little pond dams, that can be effective at times for sure. And then moving down here, just a couple different things, nothing too crazy. Obviously, you've got the main channel out here, so you can really put a lot of focus there and focus your attention on where that channel is. Now, if I'm looking at this right here, just based on this image, and I'm thinking if I'm just beating the bank and I'm not really necessarily offshore, this area right here, if you look really closely, you can see the creek channel, or not the creek channel, but basically the river channel coming through here, and it swings up and it hits this point right here, right off the edge where all these trees are right here. So I'm thinking, even though I didn't mark it, and it could be marked as an offshore spot, but this area right in here is going to be a hotter spot to find some fish for sure, just because of where that creek channel swings coming up and it's hitting the side of that point there. All right, so let's keep moving down, talk about some other stuff that's in here. Several different laydowns. You can see over in here, we got a little hard spot back in here, nothing too crazy, but you can tell it's just something's going on right back in here, and you got this little ditch. So if you can get the water up, 2022, that might actually come into play. All right, so let's keep going on down through here. Didn't see too much to mark for you guys in here. Accidentally moved that back to 2022. Moving back in here, you got another lay down. You can flip around back in there. Nothing too crazy. A little bit of rock coming right off the edge of this area. And if you look really closely, it looks like there might be some debris here, like a tire or something like that. So maybe there's more tires over here in the shady area that we can't see. But definitely, go look right around the edge of that point that's right there. Again, moving back in here, just looking for anything that we can find back in here just to mark for you guys. Some of this stuff is going to be good fishing areas, some of it's not. But at least the good news here is that you're going to have this lake completely broke down and know where all your stuff is when you're out there on the water. So you've got a pretty good ditch that's coming through here. So this can be good, in those days when you got a lot of runoff. You've also got a little bit of rock back here too. Not very much, but just a little bit of rock right here in that section right there. All right, so I'm going to move this back up and we're going to keep going around. Now, again, there's that creek channel, right? And it's swinging right up, or river channel, whatever you want to call it, but it's swinging right up against the point right here on the inside of this point. So basically right where that little icon is, down to about right in here, you're going to have a really good ledge or a bluff wall or something that's going to be going on right in here. It might even be why they call it Powell Bluff, because you've got some type of a bluff going on right there, but a good fishing area because of that swing, right? All right, so let's keep moving down. We're going to get down in here. We've got some brush piles and finally get in here and get some stuff that we can actually point out to fish around. But here's where the brush piles are. I got those off the TVA site and just took the coordinates and then plugged those in. So you'll always have those. Now, I know a lot of people think those things are only good for crappie, but I'm telling you, they're good for bass as well. You got to at least go check them out. If there's crappie there, there's probably bass somewhere close by, and the bass that are close by to those crappie are usually big ones. So you definitely want to take advantage of that and see what you can find out there. Moving down here, again, just a little pocket of some rock right around this bank line right there. And then moving up here, you've got some, Interesting little channels back here, but there's not a lot of cover around these channels, just kind of sand and soot and things like that. So not much of a channel to really focus on fishing around. You do have some interesting little channels that are back in here though, with some laydowns and things like that. So once this gets all flooded up, definitely, I would come back in here and I'd fish all around this little area here. These little pinch points are always really good. And if you can get far enough back in here, maybe get back in here and fish around some of these laydowns and things that are there, and then even get up here and flip some of this stuff that's right here in this area. Again, lots of rock. You got another ramp that's over there. And if I pull this up and we get the water back up to where it needs to be, you can see that area looks a lot different. Still pretty shallow though, but I think you can get back in here and do a little backwaters fishing for sure. All right, so let's keep moving up. We're gonna move this back to 2016 again, or 2019. Trying to make you sick watching this video. So we're gonna keep coming up here. Now here we've got what appears to be some sort of a little creek or something like that. So we got some rock that's back in here. You can see we got a little rock in here, some more rock back in there, and a little rock pile there. But you got this little channel too. So maybe paying some attention right in here when you come back here as well, and see if you can find anything here. Notice you see a little bit of rock there. That could be the washout from that little channel, and that could be a good little spot just right there on that little bit. All right, so we're going to move on up. Off this point, we've got some rock coming off this point. It's actually coming pretty far out here too. You can see it. I mean, here's the shade from the trees, and it's coming way out. It's almost into the shade. So that point in there, that's going to be a good little point to fish around with that hard spot being there. Lots of ramps in this area, so I won't cover all of them. You just kind of see them as we're going through them. But the other things that I just want to point out to you, obviously this hard area right here where all this rock is, that can be a good spot. You got some rock, some shallow rock back in here behind these docks. If you're fishing the docks and the ramps, you can hit those rock spots too. And pay attention to these little points too. Although it doesn't have a ton of rock, it didn't mark a ton for you, it does appear to come out pretty far. I mean, it comes all the way out to here, so you can definitely have some fish just hanging out around these points in these areas. So don't mark them off. We put rock here, but just know that rock's pretty much all the way around that whole side. So a couple more ramps back in here as well. Actually, more than a couple. There's several ramps back in there. All of this rock that you see here is all really shallow rock. Got some shallow rock there. Again, some really shallow rock here. Some shallow stuff back in here. I mean, this is getting super shallow, but sometimes it comes into play, so it's always good to have it. You've also got some brush that's over here that you can see. If I zoom in here, I might have to change the date to get that one to show up. Let me see if I can go back and see it. There we go. So in 2017, you can see the top of it. That's right there. That image that I had, you can't see it as well. And then moving over here, we've got some more rock, and then of course another boat ramp that's right there too. So lots of ramps and things like that. Now some interesting stuff right in here, and you can get up in here and flip around that stuff and all that, but there just wasn't a lot for us to mark for you. Now clearly we've got some riprap in here. We can fish around that. And I'm just going to kind of skip over this bridge because we'll come back and touch on that stuff later. But here's all the rock there. Got a few ramps over in here as well. Some more rock just around the edges of these points. And then as we get back in here, if you get off that main channel, there is some stuff back in here. You got some rocks back in here. You got a nice little creek that comes back up through here as well. You could take a look at. Again, you're getting in some pretty shallow water back there. You also got some ramps over here, some laydowns that are back in here. This one's a pretty big laydown. Full tree going on right there on both sides. So that could be a nice little crappie hole too. Got some good rock coming off the edge of this dock here and off the round around this point. Some more laydowns over here. Some brush that's over here off the top of this point. I kind of like how this point sets up. I mean, I know this is not the, well, I guess it is. It is the main river channel. So having that main river channel there and having something for them to relate to is always just a big plus. Some kind of break from the current or something, and that could be a nice little spot for them right there. Moving on up, we've got ramps. We've got more rocks as well. Imagine that. We've got more rocks right along this little seawall. They love to get up around those seawalls during certain times of year, and that can definitely be a good place to go and try to find them. It's just really going to depend on your current and stuff like that and how they're reacting to it, but that's definitely going to be a good spot to look at. There's also a boat ramp there as well. Looks like a little personal one, so it's going to have some pretty good growth and stuff on it that could actually bring in some fish to it. So moving back here, we're going to keep going. We got ramps over here, more ramps, a couple more areas where there's rock. I didn't see a ton here to mark for you guys, but you can see these little rocky areas. Got a little rockier area back in there. Got a couple more back in here and another ramp. And then when you get back further back in here, another creek that comes back through here. Now we couldn't mark all these because we're limited to how many we can mark, but this one does have some cover in it. So this one could be interesting. You come back here and flip around some of these laydowns, some of these stumps, things like that, and just stay over here in this creek channel and just mess around. You might have some luck, especially right here along this bank line where it's swinging really hard. That could be a good bank line to look at. And then right there around that tip of that point right there too, where that creek channel comes out, that could be good too. All right, so I'm going to back out, kind of show you guys where I'm at. We're pretty far down here. We'll see if we can get through this little arm here, and then we'll probably finish up. I don't know if we'll be able to get all the way through it or not, but we're going to try. We're also going to see some more ramps in here. And then coming out here, we're getting back out into the main channel, right? Well, here's a spot that I see that we totally missed. We got some major laydown action coming off here off of a point. So this right here, totally missed a money spot, but put that on there. Some more brush that's in there as well. So that looks good. I really like how that sets up. Some more shallow rock right in here. Some more laydowns back in here as well. You can see them. There's several of them just right in here, and there's actually a boat over here fishing them. So you know that one's gonna be pretty good. And then of course you got another ramp here, and these little breaks, where it cuts off. Those can always be good as well. Just because you never know what you're gonna find when you get out there. But it's a great place for those fish to set up as well. And so like right here, I didn't mark it, but right here where you see these stumps and things like that, those can be good areas sometimes. So definitely check those areas out. If you have live scope them if you can. If you don't have live scope, just go up there with a jig and work each one of those stumps and just see if anything's hanging around them. You'll be surprised what you can find. So we're going to keep moving down here. Get a little bit further down here before we have to turn around. But we got some more rocks that are over in here. Getting back in here to this marina. Obviously, this marina's got all kinds of good rock. It's got some good rock back here, all along the edges. Got nice little points. Got a ramp you could fish. I mean, you could just really make all those dock owners very, very mad by just going there and spending a day back there fishing. But looks like it's got a lot of good cover to fish around, so definitely worthy of going and look. And then as we get back in here, we're really getting back into the main river. So we kind of stop there. So what we're going to do is we're going to move back up after stopping there, and we're going to go back up the river on the other side and see what we can find up here. So again, we're getting back in here to some backwaters. We got Rogers Creek Valley that's up here. Just see a couple ramps that are back here. Decent little channel coming through here. Nothing too crazy. Check out these little stumpy areas and stuff like that. That can be decent. And then coming back here, I mean, if I'm coming back here, I'm definitely fishing around these bridges. I mean, if you find the bridges, you can usually find all kinds of fish. So it's definitely always a good place to look. So that bridge where that rock is, to me, that's going to be your highest percentage area in that little spot right there. We're going to move back out and get out here. We've got some more ramps. These docks look really good. You definitely want to fish around these docks. You may even have another laydown, some debris right in there. I don't know if it still looks like that now, but right in here, because see that nice dark color? That's your river channel, and it's getting really close to right in here. So you probably going to have a pretty decent little ledge right in here. Plus you got these docks they can come up and hang around. So a good spot right in there. Let's move on up the river. Again, not seeing too much right in here. Just, man, this place looks so cool. It looks like you could just fish everything because everything looks fishable. But you got boat ramps here. You've also got some more rock that's right in here. If I zoom in, this is an interesting little spot right here. Notice all the hard spot right in here and the little rock around the point right in here. But this just looks interesting. Definitely looks worthy of going and checking out. Got another ramp that's right here. Another laydown that's out here in the middle. Probably ought to mark that for you guys because that could be a possibility. It's funny. Every time you go and do these breakdowns, you always find more stuff every time you go and look at it. But I like this. I like how this channel comes in. Where that rock was we were talking about? Again, that's another one of those little creek channel swings. So fishing those docks right here, and then coming over and fishing the rocks that we pointed out that were over here off this point. And that's two good spots right there that should produce something for you. We've got some ramps there, and then of course back here where those creeks come in, you've also got that rock and that little pinch point. I'm telling you, those are great areas to find fish as well. And then way back there, you got that boat ramp. So we're going to swing back out. We're going to get back out into the main river channel. We're going to come back up here. We're getting closer to Highway 58 here. And we're going to just look up here in this pocket and see what we see. Obviously, first thing I see is tons and tons of boat ramps. So if the boat ramp pattern is on, then this is probably a good area for you to focus on because you have plenty of them to fish around and just look at all the boat ramps. It's craziness. So coming over here, though, I love, 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 love these spots right here. So right in here on the inside of this, right in here on the insides, really just all around it. You got all this rock that's out here. I love how it sets up. It's right off the river channel. Everything about this says fish me, fish me, fish me. So right in here, spend some time there. Take some time figuring it out because I guarantee there's going to be some fish right around in here in this area. We're going to move over. We got some more ramps. Another TVA brush pile you got out there. So you can check that one out. Some little light rock back behind these little docks, some debris and stuff like that. So maybe fishing around this little area in here. Another ramp. You got a couple more brush piles that are back here. In fact, let's just pull it back and show them because they're all right in this same area. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different brush piles right here. I mean, this area, right here on this branch of the river, I mean, just really, really like it. I mean, you've got the bridge you can go up and fish around. You've got this area right in here that it's like textbook fishing says to fish there. Then you've got all these brush piles you could go check out. You got the boat ramps you could check out. You got docks over here too. I mean, you just got a lot of good stuff going on in this area. So as we move over here behind that ramp, we've also got some more rock. Here's those brush piles. These are all just ramps. That up there is just some shallow rock. That's what this is too. All this rock that you see, none of it's way far out there. It's just that shallow rock behind those docks. And then over here, we've also got some more rock. This isn't as shallow because you're seeing it come off this point. This has some potential. You see the little hard spot right there. You can see it. And then maybe even a little brush pile right there off the edge of the point. And if that's 8 brush piles that we saw right there, probably 10 or 15 different ramps. And then we've also got the main river channel swing coming off the main point there. So all good stuff. Moving up here, we got the rock around the bridges. If you guys have ever watched any of my videos, or as you watch my videos, you're going to learn I love to fish around bridges. If there's a bridge, I'm going to fish around it, and I want to mark it for you, especially on those inside points. Those can be really, really good. And then moving over here, we kind of just get up in here into this fuller area. But right here off this point, look how nice and rocky that is. Starts right there, comes all the way over here. Just this whole spot right in here. Even this point right in here. It's even got some debris and stuff that you could check out. And so that's going to be just on the other side of Highway 58. Then moving up here, we're getting back to that bluff area that we were talking about, but some really good rock. This is Jewel Bluff. So this is going to be a really deep area. Very, very deep, probably a really big drop off, probably definitely like a bluff wall or something like that, but a real good area to locate fish again. And then we're going to swing up and we're going to see, I think what we're going to do is we're going to finish right up there, right at the main river. So that way we can say that we covered at least this arm for our first video. So moving up, we do have a little pond that's back in here. Now the water's going to have to be up quite a bit. It doesn't really look like much. I wouldn't spend a lot of time here. There's not much of a pond down there to fish, but wanted to mark it for you just to let you know that it was there. Again, staying out in this main river channel, that's obviously always going to be a good place to fish as well. Then moving in, if you're fishing more bankline stuff, these points, man, that just looks juicy. I don't know what that is. Almost looks like an old road bed, but definitely some really good stuff coming off the edge of that point. You got some laydowns there you could fish to. It's just some good stuff going on right in there. Some more laydowns. You basically have laydowns starting from this point all the way down that bank line. You can see them. They're just kind of scattered. Then it kind of ends, and then it picks right back up there. You got another laydown, and then you got that rock there. So, that could take you some time to get down that stretch of bank line. But if all you were doing was beating the bank line, that'd be a decent little bank line to beat down. Then we're going to move on up here. We're going to get back up here closer towards the whole split. Let's just talk about these couple more here and we'll wrap up the video for tonight. But as we move up here, just some areas of rock we want you guys to pay attention to. Again, this is probably some type of a river swing, channel swing or something like that that's creating this harder area where it's really, bringing out the rock. But this spot right here, basically between those two symbols, that's going to be a higher percentage area just based on what we're being able to see here on the mapping. And then we're going to move up. We're going to get back in here. We're almost to the top. have some interesting stuff here. You know, fishing these little inlets are always good, like right in here, right in here. Back sides of them too. Got a good hard spots coming right off this point over here. And then notice, you know, you got all this cover and stuff that's going to be here. It's probably grass and things like that. But right behind that is a really good hard spot back in here. So again, if we take that up 2022, that hard spot's still there, but it's not all the way exposed like it was before. So it comes a little bit further out here. So that could be an interesting spot to go look at. Actually, all this stuff, again, it just all looks fishable. So let's finish right here. We're going to stop right here where it says rock, and I'm going to change the color of that thing so I'll remember next time where we were at and we finish this video. When I come back on the next video, what we're going to do is we're going to continue on with the breakdown. We're going to move on up Lake Chickamauga all the way up to the dam, and then we're going to come all the way back down until we get to this bridge. That'll finish us up for Chickamauga, the upper end. Then we're going to dive into the middle section, do the same thing, go into the southern section, do the same thing, and then switch over to the Navionics boating app and look at the contour lines and the mapping on this area and show you some offshore hotspots. So I really hope you guys are enjoying it. Make sure you hit the subscribe button below. Make sure you hit that like button for me. And don't forget, go out to our site, simplisticfishing.com. We have all these waypoints ready for you. You just put them on we put them on an SD card, or you can too. I can email it to you. But you put it on the SD card, you plug it into your graph, you do the import, and on you go. You go out on the lake, and now when you pull up your graph, you're going to see all of these as waypoints on your graph. You're going to know exactly where everything is, and hopefully it will increase your chances in fishing and help you guys get on some fish. Till next time, guys, hope you catch your PB. Take it easy.